IT Expo, Los Angeles, California, 2008.
Welcome. Coming to you from day 2 at IT Expo West in Los Angeles, California. I'm Eric Lanask, and I'm joined now by Cisco's Director of Engineering, Louis Marascio. Welcome, Louis.
Thank you.
So, Cisco, one of the things that you've been talking about and doing a lot, especially on the development side, is the open source, open standards. Tell me a little bit about how unified communications fits in with the open standards theme.
So, Cisco's always had a pretty major commitment to being open. We have we're fairly active in the standards bodies, especially IETF. We employ many of the primary contributors and one of the founders of the SIP protocol. And our next major system release, Unified Communications 7.0, one of the major pillars of the release was being open, enabling openness, especially for developers. We deliver on that, especially when it comes to developers, by essentially embracing open source, right? And part of what we do in the Cisco Unified Application Environment, which is the product that we built, was building features into the product that allowed developers to use tools and interface with us in an open manner. So they can use standard tools now like Java and Eclipse or Visual Studio and C# that make it easier for them to build on top of the platform. In conjunction with that, we took a fairly important piece of technology that we built as part of our next release called Etch, and we open sourced that software into the Apache Foundation. So we took a very important piece of technology that is kind of fundamental to delivering on what we do, and we gave it away. And we did that because we wanted to give back to the community, a community that we depend on to do our job. And we believe that it was better for the community that way, it was better for Cisco that way. And it's kind of consistent with a long heritage of contributing back.
What do you at Cisco hope to then benefit by opening it up to the community?
Well, I think Cisco as a company, we want to foster kind of collaboration. We want to foster integration with Cisco products, and we want to see the industry itself mature and grow. And so Etch, as an example, is a piece of technology that makes it easy to build network services, right? And network services can interoperate with web services, and they can kind of take the next step in the integration story. So ultimately, by open sourcing, we're opening, even from a protocol perspective, technology, software, code. We want to gain by added collaboration with that community because we don't know everything within our own walls and boundaries, right? We want to integrate with other people. We want to talk to other companies, talk to other products. And by opening that up, we can achieve that.
Makes sense. You talked a little bit, mentioned SIP protocol. Obviously, there's a lot going on around SIP trunking, so on and so forth on the vendor side and the service provider side. How has the adoption and the growth of SIP impacted the development community?
I think, SIP as a protocol is significantly easier to understand than some of the other protocols like H323. The fact that it is born within the internet community rather than the telephony community makes a big deal. And by its very nature, developers understand it better, right? They can read it, it's understandable. And so it allows people to be more creative when they go build applications, because no longer if they're sitting there and they have to make a call using SIP, they don't have to scratch their head and try to figure out what ASN.1 is, right? It's so similar to HTTP and the inner workings of the web that it's a natural transition for them. And so I think, especially inside of Cisco, it's significantly increased the amount of integration and collaboration that we're able to give to our customers, because we can say SIP and they understand what we mean, right? You don't have to be a telephony guy to understand SIP. And so I think it's a very big deal. And I think, again, part of being open is part of not just saying that you're going to do it, it's actually doing it. And so Cisco, we made a lot of money selling phones using a proprietary protocol called Skinny. But several years ago, we made a commitment to SIP. And consistent with Unified Communications Release 7.0, our SIP phones are essentially at feature parity with our Skinny phones. And that commitment will continue, and our SIP investment will continue to grow larger and larger over time.
Fantastic. What kind of challenges are you seeing, especially with the growth of unified communications, particularly on the development side?
I think the biggest challenge is the fact that most developers, when you ask them to take a business application and integrate it with a telephony application, you're asking them to combine two relatively complex worlds. And so I think the biggest challenge currently faced by the industry is the tools have yet to evolve to the point where they can be as productive as they need to be. And so I think it's a tools challenge right now. The platform is there, the capabilities are there, but we need to give them the tools that they need to build the applications that they want to build.
And how are you going about that?
Well, that's what we build inside Cisco. Our product is the Cisco Unified Application Environment, and it is a tool set. It's a platform for developing, deploying, and managing applications on top of unified communications. And so Cisco, the reason why they acquired the software company that we were at was because they want to deliver on that promise. Because it's the tools that allow the developers to build the applications that deliver on that kind of promise of unified communications that it will transform the way you do business.
Fantastic. Thanks very much, Louis. We've been talking with Cisco's Director of Engineering, Louis Marascio, coming to you here from Los Angeles, Day 2 IT Expo. Thanks, Louis.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.